fucking headphones. What am I doing? Thank you, baby. Alright, I think we got internet on the first go. We're still gonna do our normal bullshit, but we're gonna get into deck roasting pretty soon. After I waste some poor motherfucker's time with my Lathril deck. For anybody that is here tonight, I want to drop the order in the Twitch chat right now. Any alchemy commanders I really like? No, alchemy was a fucking mistake. I hate damn near every mechanic I have seen come out of alchemy. I would say Seek is probably the only one that is even a little bit redeemable to me. But any alchemy commander that's like draft a card, conjure something, boof your opponent, I hate fucking all of it. It's all garbage. So if you're in Twitch chat, what autocorrect, Acriel? So if you're in Twitch chat, the order of the roasting is posted. We're going to do an arena game against Esper, sure. Esper Voltron, I guess, with Arna Kennerid. And then we're going to get into it after we let everybody trickle in. So Hyuga, you're up first. Glad to see you here. Chris Gia, what's good? I think yeah, I mean, we definitely Daxos here over Shigeki. What's up, Vent Boy? Itamar, good to see you as well. Chris G, I'm very glad that your cat Artemis enjoys my company. I like cats. Mauld, what do you think of the Sorin Flipwalker as well as the other one? I want to make a Sorin deck. I think Sorin is probably the fairest of the three that I've seen. I think I've seen the Tamio Flipwalker. Oh, we're so fucked. What? I'm pretty sure I've seen the Tamio Flipwalker. I've seen the... never mind. I can do that at instant speed. Yeah, that's fine. Tamio Flipwalker. I've seen the Ajani Flipwalker, and I've seen the Sorin Flipwalker. And he is like... Oh, and I've seen Grist. And so I would say that it's like... Tamio is easily the strongest. I think Ajani is probably the strongest right after that. And then it's probably Grist is bad. So I would like Grist, not bad. Grist, new Grist, very fair Magic card. And so it would be hard for me to believe Grist is not the weakest. Oh, and then there's the new Rawl. Yeah, the new Rawl Zarek. Oh, fuck. I think I needed to do this before end step. I needed to set a stop on their, like, main phase instead. Let's get it going. You're gonna counterspell Shigeki? That's what I thought. You maniac. Don't play with me like that. Yeah, Queen Luxury, shocker, the Simic card that lets you draw a bunch of cards starting from turn 1 and has a good body. Okay, that's fine. Is going to be the strongest one. Great, so we can go ahead and tell you to go fuck yourself with whoever you try to kill with that. No, thank you. I would like to keep my angel. Please and thank you. That's crazy about you. Y'all want to see the fattest Shigeki of your life? 4-2, who cares? Yeah, that's fine. 5-7? Out prowess that. Joe Salsa, I have a number of decks that I make whenever I get mad at certain archetypes, and I want to drive home how easy and brain dead they are. And so this Lathiel deck is yet another example of built in 10 minutes. I just typed in gain life and took every card related to it, and then I took ramp, and it just fucking kills a bunch of people. There's the stop on the end step. That's what I'm talking about. So but yeah, so I have one for this. I have a like red blue, not red blue, blue. I have a Simic landfall deck as well that I made because I played against a landfall deck and I was like, God, this is so fucking stupid. Like, or in a way, I felt like I had to be missing something because there's a ton of games I've played where I felt like certain archetypes were unfair, certain mechanics were unfair, and the thing that always broke me of that belief was I would play as that thing and then I would inevitably lose as that thing, and I would learn what made it like fair and totally reasonable to play around. And then I've tried to do that in Magic, and I've done it with like life gain and landfall, and I'm like, oh no, this is fucking stupid. This is a stupid bad thing that exists, and it's foul how easy it is to build a thing that just steamrolls games. Tarion Ow, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub 6 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. Mr. Hound rocking the Dark Kermit meme hoodie fit. Yeah, it's Dark Kermit / Android 16. But thank you for contributing to that Warhammer sub goal. So we're going to get into it. For anybody that hasn't been to one of these before, my patrons send me their deck list. They send me collateral, normally in the form of some skin from one of their children that I can use various voodoo contraptions to manipulate on my end. Then they send me a deck list, and with that deck list, they send me a power level, they send me a primer, and they send me the deck in one word. We do not accept those stinky ass, fucky ass 1 through 10 power levels because it's wrong and bad and amorphous. Instead, we use a power scaling, first developed by Danny Phantom EXE, the silly, spooky, scary scale. So that's the only way you're allowed to describe your deck to me, silly, spooky, or scary. Your primer is just a paragraph on what you think the deck does or what you hope the deck does. Maybe you don't know if the deck lives up to it, but this is your aspirational description of what the deck is. And then the deck in one word is what you think the vibe is. So we're going to start with Hyuga's deck. He sent in a silly deck. Started off as a meme that can occasionally get a win if it's allowed to wallow in its own self-pity. Luckily, it's usually pathetic enough that everyone else is a threat well before I am, and I can build a board state. Don't judge the generic value good stuff, as without them, this deck wouldn't have a snowball's chance in hell of doing anything. You know I'm going to judge you for that. That's like exactly what we judge people for on this stream. That's like the number one thing I judge people for is taking a silly idea and then trying to shore it up with things that don't support the silly idea. Let's see what you did. If you did something silly enough, I'll forgive you. Oops, all leyline. Is this a shrine deck? You built if you manage to build one shrine, okay. Also known as the pre-gamer, this deck wants to make the first move for better or worse, and it usually is worse. The base idea of the deck does not translate into a winning strategy, and the only reason this deck is ever a threat is because of its amazing supporting cast. Without that, this deck wouldn't even be able to get off the ground. The dream hand is where I have 7 pre-game actions and top deck the rest of the game. So we're recurring enchantments. So alright, yeah, you've got a bunch of turn 0 pre-game action in your enchantments. Return 3 permanents from the graveyard. So we're not oh, there are tags. Okay, Hyuga. Now you've done 34 lands. That's probably fine depending on how greedy your mana curve is. So Chameel, always use protection, is great, but okay, Chameel, because none of the cards are good, so why not get a bunch for free? Uncounterable, protection. Yeah, protection. Commander timeout corner. Okay. Portal to fucking Phyrexia, Jesus. Okay, so you have 7 card draw spells. 2 of which are Rhystic Study, so it's basically 4 normal card draw spells. Enchantress's Presence looks like it works okay with the deck. Venduran Enchantress looks like it works well with the deck. Whirlwind of Thought. Okay, so you have 4 pretty well selected card draw spells. Mirror Box. You got a little bit of ramp. Hang on, I might have a chance. So when I play enchantments, I get a token. When I play enchantments, I buff my board. When I play enchantments, I make big dudes. Voltron with my enchantments. Okay, so this is looking like a lot of generic enchantment payoffs. And then it's just, what if all of my enchantments were really fucking bad? Like, what if I committed 13 cards to being pregame actions that didn't do anything for me? Okay. And then, yeah, I don't believe these... None of these really help you. Like, obviously the cards help you because Magic doesn't print cards with, like, downside and no upside, but none of these cards really matter other than most of them are, in fact, enchantments. Let's look at this curve. Okay. All the pregame actions. You have fucking Mana Crypt in here? I mean, so first and foremost, here's the thing, right? I do not believe you that the deck needs generic good stuff to function. Especially with Go Shintai, because Go Shintai is just so powerful. Also, Senko Floof, thank you for the Twitch sub. Welcome back. 6 months in a row. How's it going? It's going very well. We are getting back into deck roasting today. I think you have more win cons than you're saying. Like, the deck certainly struggles because you have said, oh, we got to start with that on the field. Because you've said, I would like to, in fact, waste 13 of my cards. I'd like to waste 13 of my cards. Please and thank you. Turn 3. So let me look at some of this stuff you got. ETB, cast. I mean, I tell people a lot to follow your dreams. Some dreams should die. I think if this deck is a Joker moment in the bad way of, like, people think Joker is radical and cool while they're watching the movie, but it's also like awful to go to Wendy's with the Joker because he might just fucking shoot you, because you have 86 cards. Well, even 87 cards, because the commander is good. You have 87 cards that work well. You have 87 cards that are either like generically super powerful, or are an enchantment synergy with an enchantment commander and 37 enchantments in the deck. And then you have 13 cards that you have dedicated to being like, so this is where it's oil and water with the gimmick and what we're doing to support the gimmick. I mean, unfortunately, actually, some of this generic good stuff you are, I think, allowed to keep. Like my 13 reasons why I play this deck. Like, really, you're playing an enchantments deck, and your only gimmick is 13 of my cards are really fucking bad, and all the rest of it is a good enchantments deck. And that's kind of a tough spot to be in, because we have like this is all just good. And we get to draw a card off Sithis. And then Setesian Champion. Oh, I guess we play this too and just fucking hope nobody even looks at us. So we play Leyline. We get to draw 3 cards off Leyline. They can't counter our shit now. We do this, we do Spelunking, we draw 3 more cards. Fuck off, HP Smart. Okay. Well, first, Necrontier, thank you for the 5 months in a row at Tier 1. Welcome back to the dog home. Shoota51, thank you for the 2 months in a row with Prime. This is the Jared Leto Joker. This is the Jared Leto Joker. Necron Tier 69, am I going to MXP Tacoma next weekend? Probably. I need to nail it down, but yes, I believe so. And Nox Skyfall, thank you for the 3 months in a row at Tier 1. Welcome back to the dog home. So, like, this is again, like, you got a pool noodle that sometimes has a grenade in it, and here, because it has Leyline in the name, I don't know. No, we can't be doing these half measures, man. If you're gonna do jank, you have to do jank. So if you're like, I'm doing a Leyline deck, what I need from you is I need a justification as to why every single card in the deck is about Leylines. Because right now, what I'm looking at is, this is my oh, I'll turn myself up a little. Because right now, oh, that's peaking like a motherfucker. Let's change some audio settings real quick, gang. Let's alter some advanced audio properties. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Right now, what I'm looking at, and when you sit down at the table, like, if I put you in the Zone of Truth Paladin spell, and not the zone of the truth of what you think it is, the truth of what the deck actually is, you would say, this is my very good enchantment deck that sometimes doesn't work. Like, that's the problem with silly, is it's only silly because it's like you made a good deck and then left its shoelaces untied with all this with all this pre-gamer stuff. And I like the bit, I like the bit of I want to take as many pregame actions as possible, and I think if you do a gimmick that's going to be the backbone of the deck, it should be the deck. It shouldn't be like I have this gimmick in a tenth of my deck, and then the rest of it is frankly just very good, right? Because you have Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, you have ways you can like explode, you have ways you can set up a lot of card draw if people don't remove your engines early. And then the other problem is, like, if you tell people, I'm still a firm believer in Rule 0. I'm still a firm believer in, like, you have a one sentence description of what your deck does. And if you say, this is my silly pregame actions deck, I have 87 cards that don't relate to taking silly pregame actions and just relate to fucking you up with enchantment cantripping, that's a really bad time. I'm not gonna like eat your ass about it, because it's not, this is not like faux CEDH by any stretch. I'm just saying that you are representing a deck, right? Oops, all ley lines represents 13% of what this deck can be, and the other 87% is enchantment good stuff. And I would be willing to let you cook a little bit if it was flipped. If you had like 13 non-lands that were really good and didn't have anything to do with the theme, but they were just so good that they really held it down for you. But this is, me and Man's Guy, this is a spooky deck. You're cosplaying as a silly deck. We're cosplaying as a silly deck right now because you started with something good, and then instead of thinking, how can I do dumb shit to fill out the other 40 to 50 non-land cards to also do dumb shit that is some type of cohesive theme. Let's just move on to having all the really good enchantment stuff. Unfortunately, on that note, there are only 21 cards legal in Commander that have pre-game actions, but that's still a respectable 20% of the deck. Well, you can also do, like, if the core of my deck is the pre-gamers, maybe I call it the party deck, and I try to make everything fit into a theme of pre-gaming at the function, coming home, hungover the next day. That would be really hard to do because those are some vague fucking statements that I made. So even if you can't make 100% of the deck pre-game actions, the frat boy deck, Hyuga, that would be a way to do it. You could do the frat boy deck. Right now the gimmick is so little of it. It's way better. It's way better than you give it credit for. You just sometimes, like this game, this is a really good deck that just mulliganed to 5 on the opening hand because it started with these two pieces of the gimmick, and then the rest of the game, the gimmick doesn't matter, which also bothers me. Like, there's no, like, we're gonna play this, but even if it starts to go well, most of the things, I mean, honestly, fuck token player, so I like this. But even if the game is going well for us, pretty much everything that we're doing, only Helm of the Gods really cares about, like, total number of enchantments on the battlefield. If our deck does exactly what we want it to do, it vomits out 7 enchantments on turn 0 and then draws off the top, and then nothing we draw other than Helm of the Gods gives a fuck that we had 7 or more enchantments. Or then, okay, Hallowed Haunting does a bit. That's helpful. But the rest of it only cares if you play the enchantments after the games are done and after you've already played these synergy pieces. Oh, and you get Sphere of Safety too. And Starfield of Nyx. So you have 4 cards. Okay, so we have 4 cards that give a fuck that the pre-gamers deck went off. You know, and so that gets you up to like 17 cards are on theme. Truly on theme. Because everything else is, you know, pivoting to the wider world of WoW enchantments are good. All the glitters, yeah, you could do all the glitters and then try to murder people with Go Shintai. If you want to do like we care about having a lot of enchantments. But that's what I was, yeah, you have a spooky deck right now, cosplaying as a silly deck. It like started as, this is like the kid that starts with good intentions about how they're going to change the world, and then they like join the military and just do drone strikes. Like they were going to come up with a new form of jet engine that just ran off of water, and to do so they felt they needed a STEM degree, and they felt they needed to get into the Department of Defense, and then they just bomb people in other countries that have oil. And that's what this deck is doing. Night C322, thank you very much for the tier 1 Twitch sub for 8 months in a row. 8 months, it means we are about to have a stream, baby. True, I am gravid as fuck, my friend. On that note, we're going to move over to 420 Templar. This is a spooky deck. It took me a while to figure out what to send for deck roasting. I decided against Satora the Infiltrator and Norin the Wary Pride Month list because that format only exists for a weekend, and after running some test hands with Nadu and finding that he's actually a war crime that my playgroup would never let me play more than once, and therefore a waste of time to build, good on you, I have decided to send in this, an Amalia Soul Sisters deck that I've had fun playing. Deck aims to use the Soul Sisters to explore cards into the graveyard to mass reanimate, quite often killing the entire table with the triggers. 99% of the time you should opt to mill the non-land cards you explore into, unless that top card is going to win the game. Just skip it to get deeper and deeper into the deck. I opted to not run a Lurrus companion list because I found that running Lurrus deprives you of too much kill power. Do have some changes I've been considering, Esper Sentinel and Final Showdown in particular, but I'm not sure what to cut for them, if anything. That being said, any suggestions you may have are appreciated. The deck in one word is healthy. Hey sister, go sister, flow sister. I mean, she's bad as fuck, so that's a good start. 32 lands, a little unreasonable, but your commander is cheap. And it looks like many of your creatures may be cheap as well. Okay, so we have protection. This is the first this is the first card I really like in the deck, this and Filth. You have some other triggers that obviously make sense. But you also have a little bit of like, you know, Guide of Souls makes sense, you're gaining life. Karlov makes sense, you're gaining life. Oh fuck, Legion Elder. Lurking Chupacabra's hot. That's good. Lurrus makes sense. Marauding Blight Priest makes sense. Mother of Runes. We knew it was coming, didn't we? We knew the No Reason Bowmasters was coming. No life gain. No graveyard trigger. No real reanimate trigger. Sure, you get the 1 damage and the amass 1. But he's just he's just fucking out here hanging out for no reason. Selfless Savior. Selfless Spirit. Sarah Ascendant. Okay, a lot of things to gain life. I like Vainwitch Coven a lot. Very, very low curve. So what is this even doing? You get... Oh, you get a token for each creature in your graveyard. That is good for all the creatures you have in your graveyard. What the fuck? Why do we have Necropotence? Okay, no, this is ridiculous. This is explicitly a non-bow for your deck. Sure, you get a lot of cards, cause we gain in life, therefore we can spend it. Chthonian Nightmare. Case of the Uneaten Feast. That makes sense. Blind Obedience, sure, so you can gain some life. I mean, at this point, why don't we have Shield? Like, if we're just... Hey, it says gain... Bolus's Citadel! Scroll Rack, 1 ring, Aetherflux. Tef Pro, Swords. Get Lost. We have another, this is the same cosplay situation, just like a tier above. Like the low curve, I guess, could be justified because we're trying to do the Bolas shit. I'd like the thing that the thing that I like the least is probably the lack of true win con here. Let me play test it and see how that feels. Missed a bunch of lands, but that happens. Okay, we got it off the top. Now we have 2, so we do Amalia. Gain 1, explore 1. Land goes to hand. We do control a legendary creature. So I guess we Blind Obedience and then Savior. We gain life. Soul's Attendant goes to graveyard next turn. We'll play this. We'll pay for Extort. We'll explore. Fuck Necropotence. We'll explore. Fuck Tef Pro. Now we have fucking Bolus's Citadel on the turn after that. Alright. Sorin. We will pay for Extort. We'll get 2 life gain triggers. We get a land. Put it deeper in the deck. This is supposed to be spooky. I think it's like there's... trying to see how I feel about this because I don't know how long it takes to win, which is very important. So we'll Luris, we will extort Luris, we'll get a land. That guy will go to grave. We'll play him, we'll get 1 life gain trigger. That'll go to grave. Sure, we'll punch. That'll go to grave. So we still only have 6. And it's turn 7. JMR, yeah, Soren should be flipped, but I don't think it matters too much into how the deck actually plays, and so I'm not worrying about doing it. Let's say one person plays a non-basic, so we get Urborg. We probably need Dark Confidant by now. Say one more person plays a non-basic, so we get that. We lose 3, but who cares? Bojuka's not doing anything. We're missing... Right now we're missing all of our ways to gain life, which does kind of suck. Okay, so we get Ocelot Pride. Oh, so we would do Guide of Souls first, then Ocelot Pride. Explore. Delny. God, Delny's good, but we got to get deep. But it's turn 5, and we have one more. So we get this bitch, explore, fuck Drannith Magistrate, Suture Priest, get a land, next turn, gain 2, Glory goes, Command the Dreadhorde goes, next turn, gain 2 more, so we get a land. I mean, it's hard to argue Luris shouldn't stay on top. So we'll keep Luris on top. Luris will come down, we'll get 2 life. We would have gotten this guy from Dark Confidant. So land to hand, land to hand. I will at least redact my judgment about your lack of lands, but and I do think the deck is spooky because it does take a really fucking long time to get there. The deck does not seem like it is presenting enough anything up until the point that everything happens, at which point it's just very like womp womp. Like this is this deck wants really badly for it to win and for nothing else to happen. And one thing I have personally found to be very true is that casual games feel better when every deck's priority list is 1, I want to win, 2, I want stuff to happen, 3, I want to avoid losing. And this deck is I want to win, followed very closely by I don't want to lose, and then I want stuff to happen is 18 miles in the fucking dirt. Because the way the deck is eventually going to win is by raising a gigantic army, and then you're going to kill everybody with that gigantic army, but nothing in your deck translates to army. Stuff in your deck translates to life gain, which will get stuff into your graveyard to get Amalia back out. But as we saw from all those playtests, it really takes a while before you are getting a meaningful amount of cards into the graveyard that way. Like, we got to, you know, turn 7 or beyond, which is where like stuff is really like shit's popping off in a commander game. We had not a single way to interact with other people's stuff. I know it's in the deck, but it's very, very little of the deck. So we had not a single way to interact with other people's stuff. And we had our cards that would bring everything back to field. And even if we brought everything back to field, it would make a big whoopee cushion noise. And then you would stand there with a bunch of 2/2s. And so I think there's certainly not a flavor theme to the deck, which is okay. If you're not pretending that you have one, I'm not going to demand that you have a, like, you know, you don't need to be doing Chappelle's Show to justify why your deck gets to exist every night. But if you're going to if you're going to base your deck around one mechanical interaction, which is to dump as much stuff as possible into my graveyard, specifically through Amalia's trigger, and then murder everybody with the big reanimation, there needs to be more ways to convert creatures into pain, whether that is some of the like really dumbass banners like Cathar's Crusade. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1, right? Because this, if you reanimate with this out, then yeah, you can reanimate 7 creatures and you probably have a lethal board state. God, I don't even think Akroma's Will isn't even good because your creatures are too shitty for double strike to save them. And so this deck really looks like Cliffhaven Vampire is okay. This is probably a deck that would want half of the Exquisite Blood Sanguine Bond combo, whichever one when you gain. So you don't want this one, you only want the other one. Okay. Like, this would move the game forward, and if you mass reanimated, that would definitely do it. Vito's already in the deck, Goblin. Sir Conrad would also definitely be good as a way to participate in the game. Like, this is really some school shooter type shit. Like, you're standing in the corner, not really participating in whatever one, like, you're not participating in the commander game until the point at which you're ready to kill everybody. And that is also, what the fuck is Retribution of the oh, it's just for your command. Okay, commander murder vehicle, sure, I buy that. But then you have random rude guys like Draneth Magistrate. Your deck doesn't particularly care about preventing other commanders from being played, I don't think. You don't have a reason to have Draneth Magistrate other than you have access to the colors and you kind of felt like being mean, which sometimes feeling like being mean is a good thing. Some of these people have it coming. But I don't think but you're giving up the ability to help yourself to try to hurt somebody else, and not at a good enough rate to make it reasonable. So like now, like, let's pretend that instead of Lurking Chupacabra is even on theme, but let's pretend instead of this like board control thing, which is this is like, I'm trying to slow the game down because I feel like my strategy is bad, and you should probably speed up the game by making your strategy better by having more cards that actually turn your strategy into damage. And you don't need like, you don't need a huge amount, but you do want a little bit, or you at least want like instead of Drannith Magistrate, you know, this guy will threaten a little bit, or, and I honestly cannot believe I'm saying this, a Planeswalker would be a more concise win condition than whatever your deck is talking about right now. Like a Johnny Goldmane, that's threatening. Put a 40/40 out. Cool. Now we're doing something. Now we are getting something done. Strength of the Pride, life gain every single turn, can convert the rest of your deck's life gain into damage on board, and then if you're already winning, this will give you the open enough board to actually like convert in, like you gotta punch somebody. This, we're not hating hard enough. We have our core strategy, and then we went into, you're playing defense and you can't play defense. Or at least we can't run bad defense. Oh yeah, you could absolutely run Angel of Destiny. You could absolutely run Angel of Destiny as yet another Soul Sister, right? And you could get rid of fucking, like, Dauntless Dismantler makes no goddamn sense. This looks like a trauma response. This looks like you got hit with, I mean, if somebody at your table plays Dockside, yeah, get them. But if they're not playing Dockside, Douse Thee as well, because you're not putting cards in graveyards. You have, or you're not putting cards in your opponent's graveyards. You're not board wiping. You have one piece of repeatable removal with Retribution of the Ancients, and the rest of the time you are standing there watching everybody else. So you are like hoping other people die so that you can try to grab their wallets before the ambulance carries their body away. And we gotta get Amalia up in the mix, and you gotta start beating people to death. And then there's a lot of stuff that's still fine, even if I hate it, right? Even if I hate how easy life gain is. Sure, ETB life gain makes sense. Doubling the triggers of your life gainers. Doubling the triggers of your life gainers makes sense with Delny. Life gain, Flicker makes sense. Drannith Magistrate makes no fucking sense. What about Heliod Ballista? No, don't run infinite combos just to run them. Especially when we're talking about putting in other meaningful win conditions instead. But yeah, there's just a ton of like, God, all of the Kayas are total bullshit. All of the Kayas are total bullshit. You could put any of the Kayas in the deck. You could probably put most of the Lilianas in the deck and it would be totally fine. You probably do want white Planeswalkers over black ones, unless it's like a Sorin. Like, Lord of Innistrad would also be good. He's making lifelinkers. I mean, Goblin, we're also not using tribal anymore, but we are in no terms suggesting doing oops all Planeswalkers. I'm suggesting pick one or two of the best ones to replace these random rude stuff cards. because this deck is self-conscious about how slowly it runs. We can't be self-conscious. We just need to hate harder. Okay, you don't need to be embarrassed that the deck takes a little while to get going. You just need to take a little crack about it. What about equipment like Tarian Soul Cleaver and Sword of Hours? I doubt it. Maybe Sword of Hours only because of the counter doubling, but Tarian Soul Cleaver probably not, because we're not doing sacrificing. We are putting stuff directly. No banding. Zandumba, I will fucking get you if you suggest banding one more time in this goddamn stream. So if you don't want to do Planeswalkers, like Angel of Destiny, Sir Conrad, something that is going to create pressure on the game, because the fun of a Magic game, well, not the fun, but a lot of the fun from a Magic game comes from the friction of people trying to win and other people trying to stop them and the goofy shit that happens in between. And this deck does not try hard enough to stop people from winning. You just specifically from winning. You just randomly untie shoelaces every once in a while with people like Dauntless Dismantler. And you need to try harder to win and less hard to not lose. And you need to get a few cards that are not afraid to beat some ass. Or you need board-wide anthems so that when you command the Dread Horde, it is actually an army instead of a fucking chess club. Because this looks like I spend 15 turns hanging out and then I reanimate the middle school chess club and I just fucking pray. But I do like that you stayed committed to making Amalia's ability work instead of totally generic life gain synergies. I do think you need to make sure you can kill motherfuckers. Whether that's, or you could also do commander damage, right? If you want to stay focused on the Soul Sister, then you could do more equipments to get her through to deal damage. But you got to participate. You got to participate. The Ultimate Life Form, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home. I appreciate those Bezos bucks very much, my friend. We're going to move on to Durge's deck. It's a silly deck. Last time I submitted a deck that I was horny for. It was dragons. This time I bring you a deck that's horny for itself and my opponents. Welcome to the Butthole Surfers. The deck plays pirates, makes treasures, and steals other people's cards. That's all it does. Also, please listen to the song in the deck's description for full effect. It will likely get you a strike, so just like listen real quietly. We're not even going to play it, but I've listened to the Butthole Surfers, so I presume that I will have heard. Oh, I've not heard Who Was in My Room last night. I'll listen to this another time. Everyone else, cue this shit up right now. Right now, right now. Durge is in the ER for carbon monoxide poisoning. They must have been huffing this goddamn deck. So Don Andres the Renegade. Each creature you control but don't own gets +2/+2, has menace and death touch, and is a pirate. When you cast a non-creature spell you don't own, make tap treasure tokens. All right, so we're committing thievery. Beckett Brass. That makes sense. Copper treasure. Booty Brigade. We're getting booty. Coercive Recruiter. We're thieving. Deadeye Plunderers does make sense as well. Oh yeah, let me respect Durge's wishes. All right, Diplomacy. Star Magician, thank you for the $5 super chat. Congrats on 100K. Oh, I didn't realize I'd made it. Fuck yeah. We made it to 100,000 YouTube subs, you guys. Okay. So this is kill stuff. Oh, Psych Rift stuff. We're trying to make as many treasures as possible. Or we're trying to steal. Price of loyalty. So this person has played against an artifact player before. It's interesting that they have Shattering Spree and not Vandal Blast. Spell Swindle, Torment of Hailfire. Alright, so I have exactly one suggestion for this diplomacy section. Psychrift I don't think is on theme, but Psychrift is never on theme for anything except making people hate you. But the base counterspell should absolutely get replaced with the new counterspell. Yeah. You should drop counterspell for invert polarity. It will only really pay off for creatures because you still aren't, like, if you have Don Andros, you aren't casting the spell if it's non-creature. But if you steal a creature, you get the +2/+2 menace, death touch, pirate shit, and it's theft, right? This is exactly the type of shit you want because no matter what, you're stopping them. So I would say that's a 1-to-1 swap to keep your deck on theme of we love stealing, we love taking things. Booty Blasters. So these are all our pirates. Fucking on theme dockside. Hate it. Hostage Taker. Malcolm. Zara. Bounty Board. Grim Bounty. Outrageous Robbery. I like Outrageous Robbery. I like Sea Double. Sword of Wealth and Power is good. Honorary. We have more honorary pirates than we have actual pirates. So is this the first lie we catch you in? Yeah, we have 13 pirates. 13 of our 32 creatures are pirates. Goldspan. Allowed. Allowed. That's our goat. Atali is always on theme because the theme of Commander is having fun, and Atali is fun as fuck. And I won't hear anything different. I hate that you do have enough treasure generation for me to sign off on Hellkite Tyrant. Kellogg good, Jasper Flint good, Sackbill Baggins fine, Magda good. What the hell is O'Hare Pakbatik doing here? What the hell? We have 10 instants in the deck. I think this is probably the most individually questionable pick I've seen so far. Make treasures, make treasures, make treasures, steal shit, Zentrum Bandit. Yeah, pretty much everything else is like really all in on this. I'm gonna make treasures, I'm gonna take stuff, and then we just have fucking a dragon god hanging out in the background. And also most of your, I mean, I guess it's to, so let's see. Things you could double cast with O'Hare Pakbatik. Deadly Derision, Psych Rift, Counterspell, Deadly Dispute, Hornswoggle, Narset's Reversal, so we're up to 2 counterspells, 3 counterspells, Outrageous Robbery, but it's an X spell, and so you can't rebound it. Reenact the Crime, which is a really bad card. C Double. Okay, C Double is the first good one. An Aztec God in the background is kind of on brand. I mean, it's really just there as like, it's part of the album art. It's cover art. This is not here as part of the deck. This is here as part of the album cover art. What's this curve looking like? That's hopeful. That is a hopeful fucking curve, but I believe that at a spooky table, oh, a silly table, definitely a silly curve. Hey, right on silly. Right on silly. What can we do? We probably didn't go first. Fuck that soul ring. We blew up a soul ring. So we... Luxury suite, that guy. I mean, Jasper Flint, baby. Pirates have to be mercenaries. Control legendary creature. Let's just Don Andres. And then now the biggest problem with playtesting is that we have no idea what we're going to steal. But every turn I'm getting to see 3 extra cards. And so I could probably... See, I could Corvold. I have Outrageous Robbery, but I just don't have anything good. Or I'm not going to try robbing yet. Cunning Rhetoric. This is definitely your worst card, but if it ever happens, it's so funny. And we may... It's also turn 8. It is pretty late. We are really hanging out. Oh, that's very good if you play against any token dipshits. So from the initial playtesting, I like this. I'm going to pretend this is just like a normal dual land. I think it certainly starts slow, but that is the constant struggle of most silly decks as they cram in so many like 3 to 5 CMC bangers that they have trouble going fast. And we also can't really... It's super difficult to guess the accrued value of a theft deck when we can't see what's been stolen. Okay, we can hit Ramirez Di Pietro. I like this. I think this is pretty on theme. Frustratingly in some cases. Except for fucking Psych Rift. I'm trying to think if there's anything we could do instead of Psych Rift that would make me less mad. That would make me a little bit less upset about... Because Psych Rift is really just here as like, oh, but fuck you all. And everything else in Diplomacy is perfect. Everything else in Diplomacy is so perfect. Except for maybe Torment as well. I don't think Nicol Bolas... Hold on. Okay, Planeswalker, Dragon, Being. I do not see Pirate. Now, I do think it is a good idea for decks to have pretty hard win conditions. Get Walk the Plank the fuck up out of here. We gotta be... Oh, he is about theft. He is about clutching the bag. I think Insurrection, yeah, Insurrection could be a good one. I think I might I think I might suggest Insurrection over Cyclonic Rift, not just because I'm horny, but because if there's a board state that is really a problem, it will probably be more exciting to win via Mass Mutiny, which is that a card too? Oh, that's a card too. Play Insurrection, call it Mass Mutiny when you play it, and that is how you keep it more on theme. But like if your opponents have a board that is problematic, don't reset it. Take it for yourself and kill the most problematic player. And then we're lit. And then we're so good. Everything else is like, you have very reliable treasure generation. You have a couple really, really good treasure payoffs. You have a totally fucking random snake in here. Like, I cannot express the degree to which this snake is just so off the fucking wall. And I know he looks sick, but if you just want, a creature that looks sick, we can do other things to help you, man. That's all I'm saying. Like, we just have to... There has to be another... something that, like, steals, or, like, we have... like, God, we just, like, we have so few instants in the deck, and none of the instants really want to get recast. There's only like Deadly Derision, Deadly Dispute, and C double. Like, there's three. We have 3 instants that legitimately want to get recast. Coercive Recruiter is already in the deck. Oh, Agent of Treachery. Hold on, meme man. You may have got it. Oh yeah, get my man in the fucking pit. Rogues are outlaws too, so it even works with Laughing Jasper Flint. Yeah, we gotta get not opposition agent. That's just like good for no reason. Agent of Treachery is good for a reason. We can take a thing, and then it is another mass theft payoff, because if the Don Andres plan is working, we're drawing 3 cards in end step. Yeah. And that will get us to like being able to win the game without being oh, I played this, so fuck you, I win. Like, Agent of Treachery is still, I think, appropriate at a silly table, as long as you're not doing like mass Agent of Treachery copy deck. But Durge, I'm feeling this. Hashtag Pride Month indeed. I like this deck. I'm still on Torment of Hailfire. I think it's, but like, you do need to win, right? We don't want to focus so much on flavor that you end up like one of those shitty little restaurants that will give you like a dollop of heavenly mashed potatoes that is like a teaspoon. But I think you've got good theft. I think you've got a bad curve, but you have a curve intolerance for a silly deck. Did you? Okay, you do have Soul Ring. We could. Oh, God damn it. What's happening? Why are we letting me down right at the end? Black Market Connections, I will forgive. Aggravated Assault, I will forgive. I don't think you can justify Ristic Study to me, my friend. I don't think you can justify to me, this is my silly gay pirates who touch butts deck, and also card draw tax. By saying pirates can't read, they can't read, neither can the commander players. They certainly are not studying Ristics. Get other Beckett Brass in here. Clearly it's theft of mana, except you don't get it. It's not theft, it's making other people throw things away. We touch butts and we also touch books. None of you are passing yet. None of these are good enough reasons. Oh, you don't have enough pirates for Unsinkable. Yeah, I mean, you could take Mass Mutiny. You could take... Other Malcolm is a good pirate. I think they need card draw. Listen, the deck certainly needs card draw. But there is no way in hell the deck needs Ristic Study. Boom. Thank you, Goblin. Resurrected Goblin has saved your deck, Durge. I hope you're feeling better from your carbon monoxide poisoning. Make these 3 to 4 additions we suggested, and you are all the way there. Because this is good, right? This is good and pretty on theme, and you only broke a couple times, and most people break, right? Rhystic Study breaks most people. But yeah, I'm down with this. I like the Wop Sword. I like pretty much all of your creatures, except for this guy. Still no goddamn reason for him to be here. But the rest of it, yeah, get prideful, steal things, take things. I like it. Good job. And then it is just like, the playtesting seemed like it went well. Practically impossible to legitimately identify the value. All right, we're going to move on to Emperor Troidl Drolmai's Silly and Spooky deck. I had originally intended to submit a different deck this month, but this was inspired by your card roasting of Sisay Weatherlight Captain to build this instead. I only allowed myself 5 nice cards, the rest are bad. I marked the deck Spooky Silly, but it's probably far more silly than spooky. Given my previous deck, you can be assured I stick to the bit with this. In one word, it's masochistic. Sisay's Really Bad Time. A Sisay deck inspired by Maulhound's card roasting of Sisay Weatherlight Captain. The whole point is to be the worst yet still functional Sisay deck ever. It's not a bad time for everyone else, it's a bad time for the Sisay player specifically. The top priority searches are all things that make Sisay smaller, thus meaning less options for searches. The player running this deck does have to commit to the bit though, and never search Hero's Podium except to try and win the game that turn. However, if they draw it, it's fair game to play. For upgrades, only legendary permanents worse than the untagged creatures or worse legendary lands than the 5 in the deck, keeping one of each color should be suggested. Lastly, the bans with lands are bad because almost no trample, and rest assured if I am able to, I'll make a single band. Please make sure you turn tags on Maulhound. So, I'm not sure if I love it or hate it yet. I kind of like dedicating to making a good deck horrible. That said, I generally dislike things that require the pilot to play suboptimally, because that often feels like, wait, huh? 5 layers? Oh boy. Well, there are technically 46 lands, 5 of them don't tap for anything, and 1 of them is conditional mana if my opponents decide to pay or not. Holy Jesus. Alright, so let me just look at what we're doing. End the turn. At the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. First priority. Oh, all creatures get -X, -O. Okay. Sack all my lands to get a 5/5. Second search priority. Weaken all my creatures. And then most of them are black. Okay. Yargle and fucking Multani. Holy God, these are some horrible... 6 mana Dimir Mana Dork. Bad mana rocks. Okay. This deck is like the Sin Eater. This is the Jesus Christ of all Sisay's deck. Of all Sisay decks. Emperor has made this sacrificial lamb that is so impossibly bad. Yep, every bounce land. Oh my, 15 bounce lands? They have made this such that the average Sisay deck seems reasonable. Vanilla Legends, yeah. Gabriel Angelfire gain 7 mana in Selesnya. I just want us all to appreciate something. Seven mana in Selesnya, 4/4 that gains Flying, First Strike, Trample, or Rampage 3. Seven mana Selesnya. 12/12. That makes other shitters. Yeah, you get one of them. Yeah. More Vanilla Legends. More Yargle. Worst Legendary Lands. Worst Walker. So I think, yes, I brought a notebook to write down every... Jesus, Space fucking Bellerin. Alright. I love the spirit of this. But I think this is this is another deck that is... The nature of your gimmick requires you to sort of stand outside the commander game in the rain, clenching your fist angrily. It's certainly not spooky. So we have to play this and pass. We have to bounce this back and discard to hand size. Oh, we have a Sika in here that we're gonna get rid of Savitri. We'll play this. And then I guess we bounce it. We pay 1 to bounce it to get the rock out. Then we play this and we lantern. And then we fucking do this, bounce it back. We have 3 mana to work with. It's turn 5. We can play Sisay. We have 4 of our colors now. Holy fuck. Dark Prism, thank you for the follow. Okay, so it's turn 7. It's turn 7. We have 3 lands in play. I think this deck is to some degree a magnum opus of showing how non-functional you can build. This deck should go in the Smithsonian to show off power creep. Like this deck was designed to show somebody and say, this is what Magic the Gathering used to be, and then show them the average modern deck from Modern Horizons 3 and have their head explode. Or trash, yeah, get you some pity nuggies from McDonald's after the game is over. This deck is better as an art piece than it is as a played deck, I feel like. This exists as like a liminal mental space rather than a collection of cardboard that should actually be used. The deck that would not kill a Victorian child. I'll tell you what there's not a way to change this, right? Because you can't change art. It's got a 40% win rate across 5 games. See, this is what I'm going to get you for. Because it's so bad, everyone just ignored it because of how slow it is. That is problematic in a game where you're trying to have if you want to have a like casually competitive time, this deck does not create friction. This deck sits there and hopes that other people fuck up. This deck is the bad old days. This is the bad old days, the deck. And decks like that can sneak wins sometimes. But if I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of anybody playing against this deck, and doing anything to this deck or this player is like kicking a child that's suffering from tuberculosis. And like, you know that the child suffering from tuberculosis is looking for a knife to kill you, but he's shitting himself, he's coughing up blood. You want you want to let him look at the pretty flowers for a little bit. And everything the deck does is so terrible until it wins. And it's another non-participant in the game of Magic, because you're not going to try to stop anyone else. You're playing solitaire. You're playing solitaire, but in a you're playing Gaslighter Solitaire, which I do respect. That is kind of funny. And I'm not going to change the deck to be this way, because we would have to change 98 of the 99 cards. The thing that I would enjoy more, like a Sisay deck that I've seen that I really, really enjoyed, was they committed to everything in the Sisay deck being Universes Beyond, and it was still functional, and it was still strong because it was Sisay, but it never went totally stupid and crazy, because it was held back by the nature of everything has to be Universes Beyond. So in the same way that your deck's personality should never be good, you should try to build a good deck around a personality, but the personality shouldn't just be my deck has strong things. You've done the opposite. You've made a deck whose personality is bad. And it does make me giggle, and I think I would enjoy it more if you said my deck's personality is blank. There is no way to build a deck that does that. I was actually going to submit a full spooky, maybe scary deck this month, but the card roasting of Sisay inspired me to make this. That's the only reason I made this. In that case, full marks. This is a Banksy art piece, and I can appreciate it as a Banksy art piece. I think every time a Sisay player out there in the world wins, they should be forced to spend a game playing with this deck instead. So I will accept it 10 out of 10 as an art installation, 6 out of 10 as a playable collection of Magic the Gathering cards. But this is, you found a lot of bad shit. You found a lot of really bad shit. 15 bounce lands. Like, that first playtest where it was turn 7 and we had 3 lands out, I'm going to put that on loop, and I'm going to play it in front of everybody that tries to tell me to play bounce lands when they don't have an explicit reason to. So turn 1, baby. All right, let's get it going. Boom. Turn 2. Boom. Discard that guy. We don't have any of our 5 basics to Arcane Sanctum. Bounce this back. Discard another legend. Arcane Sanctum. I think we can play the Mana Rock now. No, we don't have red. We don't have access to red mana yet. We're somehow not fixed. Emperor, how could I have played it? Because I didn't see any basics. And I don't have a red... Yeah, that's the... Turn 6, we're failing to cast a Mana Rock. I mean, we have 5 mana, so, like, we'll play Sisay. So we'd probably start looking for like bad mana dorks or something at this point. But yeah, this is fabulous work of art, Emperor. The first deck, power has officially been uncrept. We are going to move on to T-Dim's spooky deck. The objective of this deck is to ramp into Joda and then windmill slam huge ass enchantments and creatures every turn until the rest of the table caves in from the sheer girth of the cards on display. So we are going from high art to the heart of behold my stuff. Everyone get ready for it. Oh, did I not? Oh, I did not copy paste the right bit. Okay. Welcome to the splash zone. Oh, it's the different Joda than I was thinking. There's no value greater than the value you get when buying in bulk, and in this case that bulk includes an influx of massive enchantments, a collection of extremely large creatures, and a couple of the most horrifying one-sided board wipes that money can buy, all for amazing prices because Joda's got that Costco membership on lock. So this Joda is the one where you can just pay Wooburg rather than anything else. And so everything in your deck is going to cost a lot more than Wooburg. Let's see how cheese wheelie this curve is. Holy God. So that's 4 things, 14, 16, 20, 22, 23, 27. A full quarter of the deck is you get value for cheating them in with Joda. Big shots. Captive Audience. That's a fucked up card. We have 24 enchantments. We have 37 lands. Omniscience. Sure, I guess at some point. Oh, Eldrazi Conscription is, yeah. This is kid in a toy store deck. What the fuck are we even? Okay, yeah, Costco membership. Then we have draw. What are you talking about? What are you? Do you just like deer, bro? Or sis or sibling? We're gonna cheat in the nastiest shit of all time, and then we have a draft uncommon. Okay, so we're drawing when we play enchantments. I refuse to believe that Painful Truths is the best card draw you can find, but we'll allow it. So lots of enchantment draw, a little bit of attack draw. Kill. Yeah, I know you can get it to be draw 5, but I'm still doubting pay 5, draw 5. Like Painful Truths, those black card draw, the black card draw things that are like pay 3 mana, draw 2 cards, those are normally like, oh, I'm doing this because I don't have blue mana. And holy shit, do I wish I did. Alright, so we got some fixing. We got Prismatic Omen. Yeah, Timeless Lotus makes a whole lot of sense, unfortunately. I mean, this... Good night, Emperor. Thank you for coming by the stream. So this is Kid in a Toy Store. So to some degree, this isn't even meant to be a functional deck. This is just a highlight reel of what T-Dim finds funny, particularly in terms of "Oh Lord, he coming." If I'm gonna criticize one thing, it's that I don't think you're greedy enough. I think like you've gone for a lot of Cascade when you could go for bigger individual creatures, particularly like, where's the Emrakusi? If there was ever a deck that wanted Nulamog, it would be this one. Because you're obviously not afraid of, you know, big creatures, but like, when it comes to I want to try to win Desolation Twin, you're pulling your fucking punches. You can't do that. If people let you play Joda and let you start tapping Wooburg, they deserve to die. They deserve to die. Primeval Spawn. I do like that you've done a couple deep cuts. I made this deck well before MH3 was being teased and forgot that last March of the Ents existed. I mean, the criticism still stands with, like, Colossal Sky Turtle sucks, my friend. And that may be you love Colossal Sky Turtle, and that's okay. Archetype of Imagination is very alright. It is exceedingly alright. There are a ton of creatures that would probably put in a little bit more work and not die to shock. Zakama's hot. Zakama's a hot pick here. Tree Shaker Chimera is whack as fuck here, if I'm being honest with you. Titan of Industry, also whack as... Like, it's... I'm gonna cheat so hard for some of the most okay creatures. I think your ramp is responsible, so let's... Here's what we're gonna fix. You have... I like the enchantments. I think the enchantments are... they are just splashy and huge and overcosted, and if anybody shoots this twink in the face, you are never gonna see them resolve. Blossom Prancer... Everybody gets one crack pipe card per deck. That's my promise to you. We're gonna go into Wooburg, and we're just going to... greater than or equal, we're gonna fix your "Oh Lord, they coming." Holy hell. I mean, don't put her in the deck, but put me in. What the fuck? God damn. Wow, a lot of really expensive legendaries kind of suck. I was like, we're going to get some crazy shit. I think they have Apex Devastator. Lochman, they have Apex Devastator already. Like, they have a couple really good ones. Like, Nyx Bloom Ancient. Yeah, tapping for 5, sick as fuck. Emoti. Makes a lot of sense. Zakama, super hot pick. And then there's just a lot of stuff that is like... womp womp. I mean, people would get too mad. People would get too mad. What did we say? Spooky? Yeah, this would be pretty scary, right? You play that turn 5, somebody's talking to you after the game, so you don't need to include that one. Cityscape Leveler would probably also be good to get some, because you do not have interaction. Or wait, yes you do. I'm talking mad shit. Or you have mostly creature interaction. If you have like 4 pieces of non-creature interaction. Either way, Cityscape Leveler would be very, very strong. I mean, Craterhoof Behemoth is obviously good. I don't know if you need Meteor Golem. Oh, New Atraxa. New Atraxa would probably be pretty strong. But yeah, like old Emrakul would be very good. New Emrakul. Endray's Forerunners would be good. That's like discount Craterhoof for everything. I think somebody called this out in chat earlier, but Stampede Tyrant would synergize really well with the other shit you're trying to do if you happen to have other bigums in your hand. I don't think you actually need Gigantomancer. You can run the ultimatums, but they said they wanted to focus on windmill slamming big enchantments and big creatures. So I want to stay focused on that rather than just like anything that costs a ton of mana. It that betrays would be better than the other Eldrazi you currently have. Any of the Kozileks. Oh, you already run 2 of the ultimatums. Perfect. Last March of the Ents would be good. Return of the Wild Speaker would be good. Rishkar's Expertise would be good. Like, I think you have a lot of really good value pieces. I would like to see you trade 1 or 2 of these value pieces for things that are going to convert more to bodies without holes in them having holes inside them. Because like you're gonna play Apex Devastator. You're going to Cascade 4 times. You're going to get Archetype of Imagination, so everything's going to have flying. You're going to get Colossal Sky Turtle, so you'll have a 6/5. You're going to get this, so then if you hit something, you can cast from your hand for free. And then, let's say you get really lucky and you get Maelstrom Wanderer. And then you Cascade twice again. Let's say you get Nylea's Colossus and probably a ramp thing at that point. But even if you get a million of your good things, you have a board that presents like 20 damage for casting. Oh yeah, a million times yes, Enter Blather. Progenitus, just okay, spell it right though. But just for the culture. Just for the culture. Big 10-10 fuck you. That's always gonna get through. Like you need more cards that say nobody has seen this technique and lived. A Demon of Faint's design could work. That would be a little bit hot, yeah. We could do a Demon of Fate's design and then you could be sort of double cheating your spells in. How's it feel to playtest? Fucking terrible. Okay. Turn 4. We don't have the lands for Joda yet. Okay, so now we can... So we can Wooburg precast one thing. Eerie Ultimatum doesn't matter. I mean, fuck it. Let's pray nobody committed a hate crime against our twink. And then Cascade 4 times. So we get our Boreal Grazer, fucking Blossom Prancer, Rite of Harmony, and then... Oh, we should have shuffled every time. And then we don't get Omniscience because that actually costs one of the few things that cost too much. And we get Zendikar Resurgent. So this is what I'm talking about with we need better things to devastate into. I would also say the bulk of your card draw is focused around casting enchantment spells. And if that's where the bulk of your card draw is focused, the bulk of your ramp should be focused in enchantments, because there are a million enchantments that say make this land tap for additional mana, make this land tap for mana of any color, etc., etc. And that is more valuable to you than Felwar Stone or Commander's Sphere or even Spelunking. Because you don't have, and especially Sakura Tribe Scout, because you do not have land synergies. You need mana, and then you have a bunch of enchantment synergies. And so as much as you can, you want your mana fixing to come from enchantment ramp. And because you're in green, you are in green, yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't do land enchantments because I felt bad about how much green was overrepresenting in the deck. Yeah, where are your pips at? Third of all, I mean, listen, dog. Any deck, any 5-color deck is going to most of the time end up having overly green representation to get the mana fixed, and that's just the way of the world. I hate it. But the green players are racist. They're the best. They're the best at focusing on colors. But if you don't want to... But, like, don't make the deck bad just to make the deck bad, I guess is what I'm saying. Is if your goal is windmill slam enchantments, and you therefore have a bunch of things that care about the enchantments you have in your deck, fucking... There's no reason not to have Utopia Sprawl over a thing like Commander Sphere. But I would definitely get a few more things. Well, particularly the big creatures. Like I would switch maybe 2 or 3 of these big creatures into things like Titan of Industry. That is a standard card. Titan of Industry is a 60 card heater and a fucking loser everywhere else in the world. Because getting a 7/7 with trample and making a 4/4, earth shattering in a game where it's 1v1 and you need to get 20 life. Against 3 people that all have 40 life, this is... I mean, you are pissing into a hurricane. So I would take some of the... Now, if you just think they're raw as fuck... Like, Primeval Spawn also, I'm going to keep it a stack with you, is also kind of sucks. No, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, good enough. But... Like Zakama, brilliant, because it's not only free, but it's a free anything else and can do basically anything you need. I think Nylea's Colossus does enough damage that it's okay. But honestly, even like, I'm not convinced that Maelstrom Archangel is... I'm not convinced you have enough card draw that you want to... No, it's not. No, it's so good. It's so good if she hits, though. But I think a lot of your like cascading is mad optimistic. Like, and then Colossal Sky Turtle just sucks. That card's just bad. Comedian thinks differently at the CEDH level, and I think at the CEDH level, the channel stuff becomes important. Add Gristlebrand. Yeah, is that even legal in this fucking in Commander? No. Add him anyway. Fuck him. Yeah, fuck him. Let him know. Pay 5 mana. Pay Wooburg instead. Who cares? So yeah, I think it's good, but I would just lean into, like, green already got you. It's already the most represented in the whole deck. Like, on a census report, you are a green player. And it, like, at that point it's already happened. So you're holding back floodgates when they're made out of Swiss cheese in the first place. Jess Jock, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Oh yeah, Kodama would also be pretty fucked up for cheatery. We're going to proceed to Lochman 98's deck, which is a silly deck. This deck is a love letter to my favorite plane in Magic, led by a guest star in the command zone. Open to additions so long as they fit the theme. The deck in one word is adventure, and it is silly. Oh Christ, you tried to make a fair Najeela deck. Oh God. Dragonborn Najeela and the Defenders of the World Tree. Kaldheim is one of my favorite Magic settings, and on a similar note, Skyrim is one of my favorite games. This deck combines both, as a Dragonborn Altar Art of Najeela steps into lead, an otherwise Kaldheim exclusive 99. This deck is meant to be a journey across the 10 realms as our hero raises an army of the plane's fiercest warriors. I almost believe you. And then immediately we play fucking Planeswalkers. I get that they're Kaldheim. I do not forgive you. I do not forgive you. They might be from Kaldheim. They go to other planes. Okay? They have the dirt of non-Kaldheim planes on them. How deep are we going for this shit? Lochman. Bounty of Skemfar? How many elves we got? Well, actually, yeah, how many elves we got in this bitch? We might have enough elves. There's no tags. So we're not gonna... Let's see, 32 creatures. 3 elves. We're paying 3 mana to check the top 6 of our deck for a land. Is there that little ramp in Kaldheim that we're working with 3 mana, check top 6 for a land instead of just a normal fucking ramp spell? Crippling Fear is whack to me. What type of... Your deck is not nearly racist enough to justify this type of hate crime. Like, you want to be using Crippling Fear, you really need to be on the alt-right pipeline. Doomscar. Okay, board wipes because the deck needs some time. Okay, return. Deal 4 damage, add colorless. Warrior's usually the type. I mean, Warrior can usually be the type. You have 11 in the deck. Like, you got the... It's going to protect your Najeela tokens. This is just another example of... Or, if you have a token player that you are inversely kicking in the dick with this, I will forgive you. Otherwise, I would be hard-pressed to believe that there is not something else you would rather be doing to accelerate your warriors that is better then nuking the other 21 non-warriors in your deck when you cast Crippling Fear. Because if you have every creature in the deck on the field, when you cast that, 2/3 of your creatures you shoot in their own dick. Okay, Cosmic Intervention's interesting. We got some recursion. Oh god, Mystic Reflection is called high, and that's funny. How is... We Kaldheim cannot be sending their best if it's +3/+3 and trample. Cosmos Elixir, 2 life a turn. Hey, we'll get there. So fight, make some guys, make some counters, make some things. Yeah, we need to lock this with your Tarkir deck in a room, Shoulda, and only one of you gets to come out. See, like Reflections of Litjara, we gotta get more. This seems like sometimes it really goes off, and sometimes it's just really womp womp because you only have 11 warriors in the deck, and I think you have what, 3? You have 1 shapeshifter. How many changelings? None. So you have 12 cards. 12 cards in the deck where Litjara will go hard, and then 87 where this will make you sad. The runes make sense. Now, what are these creatures? Agar. Okay. Giant wizard. Let me just... we gotta fix you immediately. So, is a warrior. Is Wooburg. Is there a way for me to call... Kaldheim. Oh, these are bad. Yeah, these are bad cards. Oh, you're trying to represent each of the 10 realms on Kaldheim with each creature. Okay, so there's 10 realms of Kaldheim, and each one needs representation. Yeah. We're definitely getting into... I love the level of gimmick commitment is very high, and I appreciate that. We're definitely getting into the territory of, like, it's so hard to do that well. We're silly? We're silly. Okay, so the deck's silly. I believe you. I mean, honestly, this might be peak silly. I'll give you 1 free mulligan because we got 0 lands, but this might be peak silly precisely because it had to spread itself so fucking thin trying to make any of these things make sense. We don't have... Our mana is not fixed for our commander, but who cares? We missed our card draw. There were no tags, Troper. So we could swing. We have no red to get our commander out. I guess we just play Cosmos Elixir, and let's pretend that nobody's hit us yet. Play Raynar. Foretell that. Okay. So now we have Najeela. Do we have Wooburg yet? No. This would have needed to be played this way. Now we have Wooburg. Oh, so now we have infinite combats if Jorn doesn't die. Right? Do we? Hold on. No. We don't have a black snow source. Okay. So we are one color short of Lochman. I would believe anything you told me about this deck because the variance on it seems fucking high. This is because you have a couple, because most people try to pick a theme and then put good cards in their deck because the theme is comprehensive enough that it encompasses both good cards and bad cards. That is not the particular kind of mental illness that has gripped you when you made this love letter to Skyrim. This is very much like Shudda's Tarkir deck, where because it is all based on one plane or one set or one block, you got all of the really good cards in Kaldheim, and Kaldheim had some fucking bangers, and then you also have a lot of really, really bad stuff. I think this works as what it is, as a land card. I think this works as what it is, which is venture across Kaldheim, and that means that it kind of sucks and kind of goes super fucking hard the rest of the time, which is a weird place to be. I don't see why you wouldn't use the world tree though, particularly for the whole like, oh, you have it, I just didn't draw it, so yeah, you're good on that. Tergrid is in Kaldheim? You left fucking mommy Tergrid out. I think this is a relatively good low power deck. I do think it's hard to argue against including Jorn God of Winter. I think turn 5 going whoopsie poopsie, I've gone infinite, would feel very, very rough. And so I'm trying to think if there's anything that can be done to mitigate that. Oh, you also have the prismatic bridge. All right, so I think at this point you just have to accept, like, this is a high variance deck, and I do like the theme, and I like that you have committed to the theme. Putting a Sika as the commander would fix the specific Najeela loop combo, but it's also then just like, I mean, you could still do March Across all the realms. But yeah, I do understand it being too predictable, although this deck could benefit from a little bit of predictability. This is certainly what you have captured. Is Commander as Richard Garfield intended. There is a couple really fucked up synergies and so many creatures that just do not give a fuck about each other but happen to exist in the same space. We've got Finn the Fangbearer and nothing else with that. Oh, Varragoth. We have one thing that works with Finn the Fangbearer. Two things. We're taking it all the way home. Never mind. This is a Finn deck. This is a Secret Commander Finn the Fangbearer deck. So it's very difficult to suggest ads without digging perhaps too deeply into what call time does. You definitely aren't drawing cards. You are top decking and you are trusting whatever God gives you on the top of your deck, and that is always a really bad place to be. And so there is, let's just see if there's anything in call time that's going to draw cards. I mean, this Agar, is that the Agar you already have, or is that a different? That is the Agar you already have. Alright, so we have a little bit of the card draw. Who fucking E? I mean, good God, we could play Graven Lore if we really hated ourselves. What even is a shard token? Okay, just hear me out. I think Pilfering Hawk is probably worth including. It's not card draw. It's just card selection, because you do have to discard. But like, this is a rough deck. And you need, I would probably slot Vega in too, because you're doing a little bit of casting from exile. You have there is enough foretell that I would put the little government employee in there. Presumably over like Tyvar the Bellicose, because he is not carrying those 3 elves very fucking far. Yeah, Vega's not on the deck. You need a little bird. You need a little bird, buddy. This deck is certainly taking you on an adventure, but it's like a level 4 D&D one shot. And that's the only adventure you get. Alright, we're going to move on to Snifer's Spooky deck, which is this deck started as Gruul Saprolings against using Ulashed. But while finding payoffs outside of I have 1 billion Saprolings, I discovered Thrummock devours a mechanic I like, and this Hellion brings it to 11, being the only deck I play where I open my calculator at the start of the game and do my math on my opponent's turns, in Gruul. I would almost certainly be better served in most circumstances to just win off the copious amounts of tokens I create. There's a special kind of endorphin rush I get when I have a creature that routinely ends up with a power toughness that makes Unglued's BFM look like a chump blocker. And then I throw it at your head, because I mean, what else am I supposed to do with a giant rock? Not throw it at your head. I do like that. I, once again, was copy-pasting the wrong deck link. Why you shouldn't teach the Gruul players math. Oh Jesus, Devour X. So what at ETB is you sacrifice any number, it gets X +1/+1 counters on it for each of those creatures. 15 mana ramp, 22 tokens, 8 death, murder, kill. The original commander. 36 lands is pretty reasonable. Alright, we've got our generic token pieces. Removal protection, sure. Haste also makes sense. I don't know, they seem good. Runes of the Dais. That's probably fine. Trample, trample, trample. So we do have Fling, and we have Kazul's Fury. So I don't know if this will make the monkey that controls your endorphins clap or not. My first question is if you want Thromok to murder everyone, it's not that, it's Chandra's Ignition. Is there a reason we're using the bad version and not the good version? We can also... You know, I forgot that existed. Well, we're here to help. I do like this. I like a deck that is... I like a deck that is trying to translate its massive numbers of tokens into something that is more interactable for style points. That is my biggest gripe with token decks, is often that they just sit there and sort of endlessly amass tokens and you can never do anything about it. And this deck is definitely trying to amass those tokens but then it wants to translate them into one big creature that is then inherently interactable. So we'll put that tapped, we'll put that to hand. So now we're kind of getting into trouble because we don't have... Okay, now maybe we have a token maker. Do we have enough mana? We need 7? Yeah, we have 7. Turn 5, we've done something. And then we'll assume everybody casts one spell on their turn. We'll make some insects. Sure, we'll add this. And then... I mean, let's fucking try it, right? Let's sack 4 things. So we sacked 4 things, which means it has Devour 4. And because we sacrificed 4 creatures, it gets 4 +1/+1 counters for each of those creatures. So we have a 16/16 Thromok right now. We certainly, I mean, we definitely played them like a little too early. We would have like second harvested. We would have primal vigored. Okay, Arachnogenesis, Blister Pot again. I'm a little underwhelmed with the token generation, actually. Let me look back at this. So we have Brood Monitor, Bramble Sovereign. Thank you for coming by the stream, Lochman. I hope you enjoyed it. I think the deck is promising a little much. Dragon Fodder makes sense. My cloth makes sense. Is it? We may be having an instant. I think there's a little bit of like an instance of everything that is going to make the tokens for Thromok also wants to come down when Thromok comes down. Let's see what the good people on EDH Rec have to say about this, because I don't know enough about Ghoul. I don't play fucking Gruul tokens, so let's just see. What the big ones are. Well, Skewed Swarm, obviously, if you do want to give up your place in heaven, Skewed Swarm is highly recommendable. Zendikar is probably very strong. I do think Krenko, either of the Krenkos would make sense. Phylath would also be very good. I think Undercell or Myconid could also be okay. Ooh, Rulik Mons. I think Rulik Mons is probably strong here. I think there's a... This deck has a very limited way in which it wants to murder people. Like, there's a very specific sequence of events that needs to happen for Thromok to Thromok all over everyone. And the deck, I do not believe, is doing enough to guarantee that that is the case. I think, particularly if you want to be spooky, I think for tokens... We don't... Listen, I know I'm going to sound crazy when I say this. We're not drawing any motherfucking cards, brother. And we need to draw some motherfucking cards. Like, we have... So we have 22 things that are allegedly token makers. They are not all created equal. I don't think that Blister Pod is necessarily that great. I don't think that I mean, Brood Hatch Nantuko is absolutely not great because you do not have a lot of ways to grow him or deal him damage. I don't think Cloakwood... I think Cloakwood Stormkeeper could be good if our token creation was a little bit better. Making the Satyr token is okay. I think you got to get some good old-fashioned Goblin Lovin' in the mix for this deck, especially since you've picked up these like counter support cards to support Thromok's Devour stuff. And it would be supremely helpful to you to have Rulik Mons making you goblins, to have either of the old Krenkos making you goblins, so that you could have more to sacrifice to Thromok, because Thromok doesn't really start to like heat up until you have 4 or 5 things to sacrifice. And right now we really like don't have a way to get there. Or we don't have enough ways to get there. And like Ant Queen I think is pretty fucking... I guess it's 3 tokens a turn if it sticks around. Like, there's a lot of... You do not have any real all-stars, and you have a lot of pretty okay things, and I would cut a few of your pretty okay things for more all-stars, and you have so much ramp that if you wanted to try, you could probably get away with... You could probably get away with a greedier curve at the average table. I think Mage Slayer and Rage Reflection are kind of goofy for you. For both of these, you would rather have the thing that actually made Thromok bust all over everyone rather than just double strike. Yeah, Return of the Wild Speaker would be great. Anything to benefit off of the supreme power that Thromok is giving you. So Return of the Wild Speaker, Last March of the Ents, right? You could just pretend that that huge Ent is Thromok. I think Battle Hymn is questionable. I don't think in the playtesting we did not make enough tokens to feel good about turning our tokens into money. But then seeing like this hand, we started with all really high mana creature or high mana things that we couldn't do anything with. So we get that, then we get the Eldrazi spawn. Animal Friend would be good if you had anything to swing with early. Allenite, thank you for that suggestion. Andoril also wouldn't be terrible, but you need to then have things that you're comfortable sending in early. And that could make things like Blister Pod playable, where they have a death trigger to make a token as well. As long as they at least replace themselves on death, something like Andoril is totally fine. I like this deck right now. Number one problem is it has like Dragon Ball Z syndrome. It wants to stand there and charge up its powerful ultimate attack, and it's going to spend 50 minutes to an hour standing there charging up, just going ah, and then if you ever get shot in the chest, you're just turbo fucked. And so I also think enchantments are generally worse than equipment, especially if your commander is going to draw a lot of ire. But that is a call you should make based on your individual risk tolerance. Oh, I think Goblin Slide could be pretty good for you. How many non-creatures you got? 14, 23, 29, 45? Yeah, you want Goblin Slides yesterday. Yeah, this would be a great half the things in my deck cost 1 more mana, but allow Thromok to actually do something would be phenomenal. The number one issue I saw with the deck was we get to the mana to cast Thromok, but it's not worth it to cast him because we don't have anything to sacrifice to him. And so we need to get more aggressive in the token generation, probably. Yeah. I do like the deck. I do think that it's spooky. I think that if people let you cook, you will be cooking them. But it takes its time. And it is very, very easy to foresee how it's going to try to get you, which makes it highly reactable. Oh shoot, Sunforge Reliquary, thank you for the $5 super chat. New fan here, love your stuff. Was I supposed to DM you my decks in Patreon, or was I supposed to submit them somewhere else? So Reliquary, and anybody who's signed up for the Patreon or who wants to, in Patreon, when you sign up for the appropriate tier, there is a post for the monthly deck roasting, which is to a Google form for the month of June, and then I pull the responses from that Patreon post, and that is how we schedule things. So you don't need to DM it to me, but you should go to Patreon, and if you're signed up, it's the $25 tier to gain access to the deck roasting, and if you're signed up there, you can go to the Google form, plug in all the information, and then we will get you scheduled. We're going to move on to Cyborg's deck, which is allegedly scary. This was the first deck I ever built for Commander and Magic in general as part of a friend's attempt to get us into the game. Clearly it worked, as it's the deck that's been built and rebuilt the most out of any that I play. It's my take on a classic archetype, zombies. It aims to play out a few early zombies before using Varina's looting effect to self-mill as many zombies as we can into the graveyard. Then they can all be brought back at once with one of our mass reanimation cards. To close out a game, we swing for lethal with our stacked board, or good old-fashioned aristocrat gameplay to drain the table. I've tried fitting in Cauldra, and no, it doesn't really work. Long live the Queen. In another time, in another plane, the once great British Empire lies in ruin. Its colonies seceded, its power shattered. The only reminder of its former glory are the great cryptex, massive bastions of arcane imbued marble, ripped from the heart of Dover, built to contain the legions of imperial dread. The year is 1837, and the once and future Lich Queen Varina makes preparations to wake her dead empire. Untold horrors shall be raised from the cryptex to drown the world in their undead misery. Is that a reference? Is that a reference? And Snifer, yes to your question. Okay, whenever you attack with one or more zombies, draw, discard, gain life. Exile from grave to make zombies. So we want it to be all zombies. We want to win by going wide or doing aristocrat shit. Okay, when we discard creatures, when zombies die, check top. Oh, right, tags. Perfect. Actual English weather. God, Rooftop Storm is fucked up. Arise. Alright, Haunting Voyage to get all our zombies back. Living Death to get all our zombies back. Okay. 6 Arise cards make sense. Brexit for all of our Jesus. Noxious Ghoul is very strong. Oh, God. I was about to say, like, wow, this card is so mid because you're probably not playing that many zombies a turn. But then as soon as you do the zombie apocalypse, it is a fully one-sided board wipe. Britain's Origin. Empty the laboratory. So trade zombie tokens for our zombie cards. Zombie Lord, Zombie Lord, Zombie Lord. Or, well, not necessarily a Lord, but synergy piece. Hexproof and Menace on our tokens. Zombie spells, yeah. Colonial artifacts. Read stuff from India. Then draw. Yeah, sure. Archghoul of Thraben is really like half. Contaminated drink. Ooh, self-rad counters is really good for Varina. Crypt Baker is great for you. Fellstinger is okay for you. Graveborn Muse is really good for you. Let's see. Midnight Reaper is fine. Draw X, lose X. Reconnaissance mission, sure. Whenever dies, get to do a thing. Oh god, Necroduality is fucked up. Oh, so this is just all of our doublers. Roaming Throne. Teferi's Ageless Insight. National Health Service. So these are the drains. Yeah, these are the drains. Whenever another zombie you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life. Permanent Resident. I was gonna suggest this if you didn't have it. Prime Minister. Yeah, the Bone Miser is very, very strong here. Wonder. I don't know. That's clearly not a zombie. This is clearly not a zombie. Why do we have a fucking bounce land? Cut this. Cut this fucking yesterday. We'll play Gravecrawler, then we'll fucking bounce our command tower for the goddamn bounce land. And then... I mean, I guess we just belch, and then we'd put the counters on it. Turn 4. Swing. Let's see what we get. And we want to put Diagraph. We do, unfortunately, really want Path of Ancestry. Alright, we have the Prime Minister. Roaming Throne. To swing 3. Say we... So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's so much stuff I don't want to get rid of. 1. I think that's more questionable. 3. Next turn. And then Bone Miser. And this is triggering off zombies. So we swing again. 1, 2, 3. We discard a creature. We make 2 2/2 zombies. And if we discard a land, we get double black. Non-creature, non-land gets us the draw card. So we discard that. Draw 2. Or we'd have to finish discarding this, so then I guess discard Scarab God, so we'd make 4 fucking things. Oh, this is hateful. This really is like, this is Britain during the Industrial Revolution. Once Varina and a doubler gets out. This is a much worse hand, so I'm interested to see how this one goes. Boom, we foretell this. Or we foretell this. God! With the fucking bounce lands again. We gotta stop with this shit. Zimi, thank you for the 2 months in a row with the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome back to the dog home. I'm so glad you enjoy the content. But we cannot be doing this. For no reason we're doing this. We're bouncing ourselves in the dick. And there's no need. Again! Look at this. We're gonna Reliquary Tower. Hey, wow. Look at us discarding the hand size. I know we want to do that eventually. I don't think we wanted to just yet. I mean, sure, Phyrexian Altar. Glistening Overseer. So we could sack the one zombie we have to get Verena out, and then swing, and then draw, and then probably discard this guy because it doesn't matter till we get the big win. Play that. We have Zombie Apocalypse, so we'll play that. Pretend we can double swing. We get 2 lands. Flesh Bag will go. This will go. Next turn, draw 2 extras. Now we have 1,000,000 lands. But it's turn 7, so I doubt we can swing. The deck certainly works. I'm not sure if I can fully class this as scary because those first 3 to 5 turns are really, really questionable in terms of getting us off to the races for doing the deck's thing. Like turn 7 and we are not thinking about trying to win yet is assuredly too slow for a scary deck. Now turn 2 play Signet, that's normal. But we're kind of like, I think we honestly have too many drain effects. I think if we want that to be a backup plan, Jesus, 3 lands in a row. And then we swing 3, 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. Everything has flying now, so we can swing it freely. Almarets, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 2, 3. Then we got to go to hand size. And that's probably this, because we don't care about it until we are doing the win the game thing. Like I don't think tutors are the answer because you definitely have the colors to do it without tutors, and you do have a high number of lands. So the fact that we're getting stuck on lands I don't think is your fault, but I do think we have maybe more. You know, probably the thing I find most questionable is we have a lot of death triggers and very few ways to guarantee our own creatures die other than throwing them against the wall of our ops and hoping that our ops kill them, and that can be a very, very bad trade for you. There's one card in particular I'm thinking of. Black card. So just hear me out. just hear me out. You have a ton, not a ton. You have a number of death triggers with like Archghoul of Thraben, Midnight Reaper, Undead Augur, Will Health. You have all these death triggers. Currently, the only way you have to trigger these death triggers, you have 3 sack outlets. And then you have... Oh, thank you, baby. And then you have to pray to God that other people are killing your zombies. And you really, really don't want that. You want them swinging. And so I think Death Pit Offering would be a very helpful way for you to get to this board buff thing, because you have... I really don't see the commitment to the board buff. I see the commitment to doing what the commander wants to do, which is drawing cards and then eventually vomiting everything into the graveyard. But I don't foresee your board actually getting all that wide. which is concerning to me. So we would Varina. We'll swing this. We'll say maybe like one person. Maybe one person doesn't have a blocker. And then swing 2. 1, 2. Holy fuck, that is good. I honestly think we dump Storm because we just don't have anything to do with it this early. So here we have a death trigger. So we can sack Stitchers. Draw 2. It was a 2/2 now. Move the combat. Turn 5 swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we get 6. 1. Fuck this bounce land. Reprocess could be interesting. I think a card like Reprocess could be good, but again, our board wasn't getting big enough in the first place. I think you would like at least one wheel. Like, you want stuff. You want stuff in your graveyard. If we're accepting that we're gonna have all these artifacts, I also think that you should be mesmerized by your own orb, because you want your graveyard full as fuck. And if you want the deck to be scary, we need to reach that critical mass of I have stuff in my graveyard as fast as possible. Like, there's a bald bitch that I'm thinking of that would be great inspiration for this. She's like female to fairy. Sephiroth. So let's see what motherfuckers are putting in Sephiroth. To get Karn? Karma, get the fuck out of here. I think Lively Durge could also be very impactful for you. You have a couple really high value zombie cards that you do probably want on the field, but you may have to get rid of at some point, or you may have to like board wipe and you want to get them back. So I think Lively Durge would be a pretty fair tutor for this deck that would stay on theme. Faithful Mending would be good. A little bit of Wheeling as a treat. Forbidden Alchemy would be very good. Frantic Search would also be good. Factor Fiction, also very good. Like, we want to do more to the deck's creatures. The deck's creatures can still be kindred zombies, and it can still be, I want to mass reanimate my zombies. If you want the deck to be scary, you need more ways to make sure that like this hand, if we had Faithful Mending in this hand, we would be a lot happier. And let's pretend we were color fixed, because here we would Faithful Mending, we would draw 2, we would get more lands. We don't need this guy yet. And we also probably don't want Let's see. We have 3 board wipes. We don't want all of these. So we can get rid of Toxic Deluge as well. And then next turn, we pretend we flashback Faithful Mending. We draw 2 more. At this point, we probably dump that. 1 land. Next turn, Thought Vessel, this guy. And now everything is going to hum really, really smoothly because we can Ratadrabic, and when we Ratadrabic, we'll get a zombie. Or it'd probably Necro Duality this turn. But regardless, that's one hand that would have been really bad without a wheel, and becomes really good even if we just have a like shitty pseudo wheel. What about adding Cultist of the Absolute? Let me look at Cultist of the Absolute, Ice Boy. No, we don't want Verena. We don't care enough about Verena being strong herself. We just care about her getting out and her living. And another important part of having cards like Faithful Mending, having cards like Frantic Search, is Verena is very threatening, and you are not in colors that ramp. And so there only has to be 1 or 2 Boston Tea Parties before the British Empire deck stops working. And so if we want the deck to be scary, you do need more ways to guarantee that the Verena thing is happening, even if Verena is not out there herself. I'm just thinking about Constant Sacrifice, I reckon. We're not trying to do Constant Sacrifice, though. We're trying to fill our graveyard with zombies and then, like, mass Liliana reanimate them and then kill everyone that way. And there's the secondary out of all of... Ooh, here are all my ETB triggers that are going to cut your dick off slowly. And I think instead, like, I think you can take the... I think you can take 2 lands, and then the 3 worst cards in the deck other than that to your personal estimation, and replace them with things that mill you or draw and discard. So replace them with Faithful Mending, Frantic Search, Mesmeric Orb, Windfall, and you can pick 1 more card, maybe Forbidden Alchemy. And I guarantee that every time you draw these cards instead of the 5 cards you cut, it's going to go better and still be your thematic zombie kindred deck. It's just going to work better because you're cutting out a little bit of the junk. Jason Bright. I don't know, Jordan. I don't think we're modifying power and toughness quite enough. Yeah. I don't think we're modifying power and toughness quite enough. We're going to move on to Raven's deck, and we're going back down to Silly. Welcome back to another production of The High Table, because Troper's friend group Who Haunts Me didn't flow off the tongue well. It's you people again. You've heard about this deck for almost 3 months now, starting when Shuda talked about it in Oops All Tarkir. This is the mythical Big Froge deck. Yargle and Mutani sure are. It's 18-7, and that sure is 3 off instant lethal commander damage. For the most part, I can't take full credit. This was partially based off Prof's ideas for the More Than You Yargled For deck, but because his audience turned a $45 deck into a $96 deck, I had to make cuts and replacements to give a budget version of it to the roommate. At the end of the day, what's sillier than a very big frog sitting on your teammates? So this is an entry-level commander deck. In response, Big Froge. Rib to the bit. Garuk, Primal Hunter. Okay, so draw cards equal to Yargle when they come down. 22 instants? Type of blue-ass deck are we playing here? Okay, Sack Froge, Recur Froge, Sack Froge. Bear and Froge are best friends. Sack Froge. Fucking huh? Oh, there's a primer in tags. Okay. Alright. Biggest frog on record, spells to focus on power matters. Here come that boy, ramp. Not froze, then die. Interaction, in response, You may have believed that you or I killed this frog, but it was just pretending to be dead. It was just resting. Considering I hear it's pretty good, maybe it's worth running in the deck. Alright, let's get to these tags. Biggest frog on record, a quarter of the deck. Okay. Dying Wish. That makes sense. Essence Harvest. This is just a testament to why you can't let people have nice things. I also think it is the perfect introduction to Magic to tell somebody, yes, play this budget deck. You just play a really silly and big frog, and a quarter of the deck is focused on using the frog's biceps to defraud taxpayers. That's not ironic at all. That is a perfect introduction to Magic, is to show them an immeasurably cool creature and then be like, oh my god, I get to beat everyone to death with a frog, right? And you go, no, you get to use the frog to draw 20% of your library and also gain 18 hit points, at which point you can fake the frog's death, bringing him back, and then I get to beat them to death with the frog, right? No, at that point you draw 18 more cards, and then you make 18 2/2 zombies. And then I get to kill them with the zombies, right? No, you're going to sacrifice all of the zombies to draw your deck out 2 cards at a time. Then you're going to pick up the brick of 80 cards and beat a man to death with it. That's Magic. As Richard Garfield intended, that is Magic the Gathering. And that's what you're teaching them with this deck. And now I understand why Psychosis Crawler is in here. Because you're killing them with the goddamn draw 20. You gain life? You gain 8? Come on, man. God, Shadowheart's so bad, though. Jesus. Float 18 green off Swinging the Frog. In response, nuh-uh. So 12 cards. This is a responsible amount of things to make sure the frog sticks around. Pans. Good. Good job. Good job, Troper's friend group. Holy shit, big frog. Well, yeah, you gain life equal to the damage meme, man. I'm just saying in most cases, Rite of Consumption will probably deal 18, in which case you will gain 18. Lifelink, that's fucked up. Dragon Throne of Tarkir is hilarious. Colossification would be my absolute favorite win con. Not froze, then die. Sure, we got interaction. That's good. Cool rocks I found. Why the fuck are we... You're in green. You're in green. You can just get the lands. You can just breathe deeply. You can just breathe deeply and get the lands. Okay, so we're going to play a land. We're going to play another land. Speeve. We're going to kill Speeve. We're going to shoot him in the back of his fucking head. Oh yeah, this is 2 basic forest. Alright. 2, 3. Forest. I cannot help but feel like you are getting supremely lucky on this playtest, because I do think you probably need more ramp. Alright, and then we cut... So we probably sack woodland, get a forest, get a swamp. So it's turn 4, by the way. Oh, I played that already. So we need 6. Do we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? We don't have enough to do the abnormal endurance yet, so I don't want to play. We'll do Little Froge. We'll do Little Froge, and that will tap out 5. Next turn, ETB tapped. So now this is, haha, Big Froge, I will defraud the taxpayers by drawing 9 cards and getting Big Froge back. So that's 4 of our mana gone. We have Colossification. I guess we play this and then we just discard a bunch of shit to hand size. Now we really want Feign Death. So now we Yargulin Mutani. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They try to kill it. We do this. Comes back. We go to our next turn. We play that. We wouldn't even play that, honestly. We would play the fucking Baloth and then we just start killing people. So turn 8, we start killing people, and we had to play pretty defensively. We pass for 2 turns, and then we do the Pilgrimage. Swamp. Yeah, Reliquary Tower is a good pickup here. Gore Claw. So this guy's 2 less. We can't defraud the taxpayers yet. So we probably ramp and ramp and set up the Dragon Throne. Gosh, we have 3 murder cards that we don't actually want. I mean, I guess we just rip Yargle and we see if he lives. And if he lives, we can Soul's Majesty. If he doesn't, do we have the mana to replay him? We have just enough. We replay him. Then we hope he lives. And then we tap 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so all that matters is that we get Yargulin Multani and we get one of these card draw spells. I mean, like, basically anything would be better. I swear to God, you guys sit around your table and you think of cards you can include just to make me scratch my head and feel upset. Because I'm kind of with the deck. This is a blue deck for sure. This is a blue deck in a Golgari trench coat, right? It's like the Cookie Monster. It's coming out of a compost bin. But this is some blue shit. Because you are killing people eventually when you have to. Most of this deck is, can I draw 18 cards or more in one turn? And can I cheat at instant speed by making people think something else was going to happen? I think you do need this many cards that are drawing off of him. I'm not convinced on every single one of Holy Shit Big Froge. I'm totally convinced on Colossification. I'm totally convinced on Dragon Throne of Tarkir. I'm totally convinced on Mark of Gristlebrand. And I'm totally convinced on Sure Strike Trident and Thunderfoot Baloth. I am not fully convinced on Rancor, even though it's good. Loxodon Warhammer, even though it's good. And Inscription of Abundance, even though it's good. One, because life, or Demonic Embrace. One, because life gain is for cowards. And then you're trying to put evasion on it. You may want to... I don't know if you want to cut from removal instead. But it does seem... This deck is stored in a 3D printed trash can. That's perfect. Oh, Warhammer does... Yeah, it does get you to commander damage kill when you get to full. No, you probably need to keep it. And you probably... Maybe Essence Harvest is the weakest individual thing, because it's not drawing you cards, and drawing cards is the most fucked up thing you can do in Magic the Gathering. Tanuki Transplanter is pretty expensive to do what feels like win more. You do get to make 18 green mana, which is highly attractive. But as always, and honestly for your horrendous table troper, I'm not certain that it does enough in the first couple turns to guarantee that it's going to get to the last couple turns, but it does do more than the average bear, because we get to rampant growth. So that's turn 2. Turn 3, we get to do that. Turn 4... I guess I'm smoking crack. I guess the deck is cracked as fuck. Never mind. Don't listen to me. We are what? Okay, somebody tries to kill him. Okay, who cares? Turn 5, whatever. Turn 6, we just fucking kill somebody. Check the considering. Okay. This is where you're going to end up. Okay? This is where you're going to end up. I want you to know that. I'm going to find you. I'm going to find you and your stupid bird and your stupid fucky ass landfall wannabe ass bird. We're putting you in here. We're putting you with the deck. Okay? We're putting you right down here with the deck. The Simic Dumpy Zone. Yeah, you, Troper, you're gonna have... The devil is going to have, aka me, is going to have made a little scale model of the Dragon Throne of Tarkir for you to sit on in the dumpster that is hell. Oh, you want the, I mean, I don't have the roast written for him yet, but I hate this bird. I hate this bird so goddamn much. Like, I've heard the arguments about, I've heard the arguments about how the, like, quotation mark was misplaced. I don't think it was. I think this, and this will be written into the bits I do about it, I think Nadu and Necrodominance are a conspiracy theory to make people forget about the One Ring. Because everybody was mad as fuck about how the One Ring was a multi-format all-star and is so expensive and it draws so many cards and you have to be able to deal with it. And they were like, how do we fix this? We've got the modern set coming out. And they were like, what if we printed 2 card draw engines that were even faster and grosser and necessitated even stronger responses than the One Ring, then everybody would stop bitching. The Wizards of the Coast designs Simic cards as if you had to sacrifice an island every time you played a forest, and vice versa. That is how difficult they think it is to generate blue and green mana on the same board. Like, there is some hidden rules text on a forest that says when you play a forest typed card, sacrifice an island typed card, or sacrifice this. Like, they think all blue and green lands are mini Lotus Fields, and that's the only possible explanation, because they did it with Oko, they did it with Uro. Like, every Simic value engine, they just criminally underrate in playtesting. And I think it's because, like, the people they have playtesting aren't evil, and the people who play Simic are fucking evil. Like, that's how Oko got through, is they just didn't realize people were going to use it in that way. Wizards just can't design green, period. There's also that new green guy who's pay 1 and tap 2 green creatures and play whatever the fuck you want from hand or top deck. There's that guy too, and he's the and he looks fair compared to Nadu. It turns out when the core mechanic of the colors is draw cards and make mana, things get out of hand. Yeah, they refuse to investigate giving Simic interesting outlets for the mana. The only button they have is give shit Cascade again, and other than that, they have nothing that they can give Simic as, like, something to prioritize a desired end state. And so all they ever give them is 1,000 different ways to create an unholy abomination of just, like, a land and creature thresher that shits out permanents and generates mana and draws cards. And it's absolutely disgusting. So yeah, I will be ripping into Nadu. I will be filming some skits about, like, behind the balance room for him as well. But for now, that is where we're going to call it for tonight. I will be live again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll be doing additional deck roasting. Thank you all for watching. Oh, Trober, cut Bobble, cut Tanuki. What are we looking to add? I would say anything in the 1 to 3 mana range that either lets you ramp or lets you draw cards or lets you, like, check the top X of your library for something. You want, like, low curve acceleration. So that's, like, commune with nature. You wouldn't do it just for creature cards, but it would be like check top whatever, get whatever. You maybe want, like, I don't know, you're pretty spread around. But just something to, like, hit a little sooner. We'll be live again at 1 p.m. doing more deck roasting. Thank you to everybody that watched, followed, and subscribed. I hope you had a good week, and remember to stay toxic.